With car racing, you don't have control over the light. What you have control over is where you stand, what direction you're pointing in, what lenses you're using. That's really the control of light that I have. And so the biggest thing that I'm doing is preparing myself through the track walks, through understanding the circuit, where the sun is going to be at a certain time of year, where the sun is setting, where to stand when the sun is setting. You can do you can do front lit, you can do side lit, you can do back lit. I will look at my own pictures if I've been there before. If I haven't been to the track before, I will study like onboard laps from the drivers. You can learn a lot about a circuit layout, the racing line through playing video games. Some of the more realistic racing games are really realistic. Photorealistic too. Like there was one game that I used to play where you could set the time of day and you could set the time of year. So you could set it to be, middle of June at Le Mans, and you would have the sun in the correct position for that time of year. And so when you're driving around the track, you can see that you're going straight into the sun, and I know that that's going to be backlit if you're facing a certain way. The first thing I'll do when I get to a track is I'll walk the track backwards so I can see what I would see when I'm actually out there shooting, because you want mainly the cars coming towards you. So if you walk it the proper race direction, you're just going to be looking at the backs of cars. That's what you're going to see. One race this year in Detroit for the IMSA WeatherTech race, I walked almost 11 miles, and the track's only like 3 miles, but I walked it inside and outside and to and from and the paddock, and you're putting in the miles to really do the research. For motorsport, it really takes long glass to do it at a professional level. It's honestly as simple as racetracks are big. Even the small racetracks, they're big, and race cars are small. So when you're thinking about something that's 100 meters away from you, 200 meters away from you, and you've got runoff and gravel trap between you and the racetrack, between you and the racing line, it's a significant amount of distance to cover. So most of us that do it professionally, you're dealing with 400 millimeter, 500 millimeter, 600 millimeter lenses. I carry 2 camera bodies. Both of them are mirrorless, full frame, sports photographer, generic camera bodies. And then I have a 400 2.8, and it also has the built-in teleconverter. 560 millimeter f4 is what it can be converted to, just with the flip of a switch. Those are my long lens, and then I'll also carry a 70 to 200 f2.8, which I use a lot trackside. For the wider stuff, it really depends on the track that I'm going to. Sometimes I'll carry a 14 to 24 millimeter, like places like Monaco. It's really useful to have a really wide lens because the cars are so close to you that even a 35 millimeter is too tight. Like a 50 millimeter would be way too tight. 35 is still too tight. 24 is getting there, and then when you back it out to like 14, it's better. But most of the tracks that I go to, it's 24 millimeter or 35 millimeter. Monopod is always important. I don't use a monopod with a 70 to 200 or anything. I am hand holding everything except for the 400 2.8. And even then, sometimes I'll hand hold it, but it's just heavy enough that you don't want to do it for too long. Memory cards are always important. I have a bunch of Lexar memory cards, CF Express Type B cards that I'll just carry a full wallet full with me, because sometimes I'm out on track for pretty long periods of time, so you need to carry enough memory that you're not going to run out. But then you have days like today where the weather has not been amazing. It's been raining for the last couple hours. It was raining yesterday morning. And so having the equipment to be able to cover my cameras is really important. Even though they're water sealed to a point, you don't want to stand out in the rain. Like it would be like being in the shower for 10 minutes with your cameras, and it's not a good idea. But I love shooting in the rain. It really kind of separates the pros from the Joes, because all the amateurs will just go running for cover, and I get it, because it's it's your precious camera gear. But to me, actually standing in the rain, it's so worth all the misery, because the pictures are so dramatic and different and stuff that you wouldn't be able to do in the dry. So having like a trash bag in my belt bag, grocery bags that I'll just carry, like I'll just wad them up and put them in my belt bag, and I can quickly protect my cameras. And if I get wet, whatever, it happens. I also enjoy the lack of control that I have over the environment, because I've never found myself to be that good at studio stuff. I've always been way more comfortable with just a situation where I don't have any control, and it's just kind of candidly capturing whatever's happening at the event. And just because of experience, I know it's gonna be awesome if I went and shot it. On the next episode of Shoot for Speed. Panning is so important because you have to be able to show that the car is moving. Professionally, Making a living out of motorsport photography is really challenging. We're trying to instill in my kids that it's good to be passionate about whatever you do in life.